turn this off. There we go. Well, I started on time, but I didn't have my coffee, and I wanted my coffee so bad. I don't know if you're ever like that, but some of us are. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA, and we're going to be talking about creativity today. And how does that even work? How can you assure yourself of the creative that's going to resonate with your market? Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I'm going to stay till the end for this one. Okay, but first let's see this really nice commercial. I really liked it. And again, it's about perspective. It's about what is your perspective on things. A man is waiting at a restaurant for his date and thinking about life. And so let's just dig in. And now that I have my coffee, here we go.
Feel like no matter what you've got, someone's got more.
No matter what you got, someone's got more.
And someone's got more than that.
And each person
more style, more to spend.
Looking at the other person who's got more. Penthouse.
So you work to get a little more and a little more. But the more you get, the more everyone else seems to have. And just when you think there couldn't possibly be any more,
limousine, Lamborghini,
you realize there's more to life than more. You're richer than you think. Scotiabank.
Okay, from Canada. That's really interesting. It's an interesting perspective, and it's probably true. There's more to life than money, and there's more to life than penthouses, right? And in my case, an excellent wife who can find her riches are far better than gold. So a lot to be thankful for as we start another year. And now let's go over and see the backstory, right? As we're wont to do, right? Here we go. Ad of the day, comparison is the thief of joy in Scotiabank's uplifting spot. You're richer than you think. This is the latest from this series, and they started it back in 2006. Scotiabank and its agency of record, Rethink, have released a 60-second spot that aims to give people a more hopeful perspective of their financial potential. There's more to life than more. Okay, there's more to life than more. And our research shows that Canadians are spending a record amount of time worrying about their finances, from paying day-to-day expenses to paying off debt and saving for emergencies, said John Rocco. Our relationship with money is highly emotional. It's a really interesting perspective, and it's probably true, right? Scotiabank, we want to show them how Scotiabank can be there when your clients need us. We can be there. Scotiabank can be there when our clients need us. And I don't know how that's true. My perspective on banks is that they'll give you an umbrella on a sunny day, but they may not approve you for it when it's raining. Although my bank has helped out immensely through the years and getting me started on this journey. When I first went to Waukesha State, I had about a 2-inch stack of my work with different clients like Amoco Oil and different Deluxe Check and different places like that. And the banker said to me, John, I've been a banker for 40 years, and I've had people come in and want to start a barbershop who'd never cut hair, or a bakery who'd never baked a loaf of bread. He said, in all my 40 years, I've never seen anybody come in with this much evidence that they will succeed. How much do you want? And that's how he started. That was wonderful. Anyway, so interesting perspective. You have more than you think. Now, this is really important, and you want to pay attention to this. Email Authentication Guide. This is from Ken Cook and David Baer and their prepared group. It's called thepreparedgroup.com. Important changes to email deliverability. What what's going on is starting February 1st, there's going to be a requirement that your email, especially broadcast email, individual email not so likely if you are sending email from someone that knows you, right? A domain that you own, or even Gmail, I suppose, knows that you're real if they want to know it. But especially if you send it through somebody like MailChimp, Constant Contact, Keep, etc. I use MailerLite, which I like a lot. You may see a dramatic decline in your email deliverability unless you take action. Now, what I would like to see is a dramatic decline in the spam in my email folder every day. I get several hundred emails a day, and 99% of it is, Now, I'm not saying it's not things I signed up for, but just the relentless pounding of offers gets to be tiresome, and to sort through that every day is awful. But anyway, these aren't suggestions, these are requirements. And so there's stuff called SPF, which is Sender Policy Framework, DKIM, which is Domain Keys Identified Mail, DMARC, Domain-Based Message Authentication Reporting, and Conformance. Okay, this one isn't so important. This is like, if you want to get a report of how everything sorted out after you sent it. There are people who might want that, but, Anyway, so I didn't know what these things meant, SPF, and I thought it was, like for sunscreen. But anyway, it turns out that the idea of it is that they want to know that you're streaming from a platform that you have a relationship with, and that matches up. And of course, I get lots of stuff from Microsoft that isn't really from Microsoft, or some bank that isn't really from some bank, or FedEx that isn't really from FedEx, right? So they're trying to connect this a little tighter, and you'd think that, yes, MailChimp would want to do that. I got declined for MailChimp for WDMA. I have no idea to this day why. No idea. I don't know what they thought of me. We've been in existence since 1986, longer than they have, I'm sure. Anyway, so, but it is important. So I called my domain host, pair.com. Excellent. They always know what to do. They always have people that answer the phone and we talk, and they're always calm. Anyway, it turned out that when I signed up for MailChimp and then signed up for MailerLite, because MailChimp declined me, it created 2 SPF records. So I had duplicate, and they're just little text files that have stuff in them, and the article tells you more about that. But I call my host, and that's what I would recommend first, is call your host and see what the status of your server, your email server, is. And they said, oh, you got 2 of these, we'll get rid of one of them, we'll kind of merge them together, and if we need to. And so they know how to write those things, and so they fixed that. And then we just had to turn on for some of I have several domain names that I own, and in case I want to send something from Miglosh Marketing or ISSM, these were turned on. They weren't turned on, and that's important. I don't know that even WDMA was turned on, and so it's important. In this case, there were just a switch, but you want to do the switch. You want to check this out. You want to talk to your domain name host, and if you don't have a domain name, if you say, well, I can run my business with Gmail, yes, you can, but that is like death. That is, if you have an email list that you're regularly sending to, and they say that 5,000 pieces is maybe where it starts to get serious, but there's no rule that says that. They can enforce this anywhere. And what I've seen in the past is that Gmail just won't accept. How my mail server sends to Gmail is that they basically say this is from jrmigs@gmail.com, and then they have all the email addresses and the message. One copy of the message, all the email addresses, and then that whole bundle goes to Gmail all at once. And Gmail can just refuse all of it, which they have in the past because of some settings or something. But anyway, so the point is that you do want to get this set up right, and if you don't have a domain name, it's not that expensive. It's $20 a year or something to get a domain name. Get something that works for you. There's all kinds of endings now. It doesn't have to be .com. It can be .io or .ai or .me, .us, anything. I mean, there's so many that there's no way you can't get a catchy little domain name. So go get one. I like shorter ones better than longer ones. But anyway, WDMA.org. You heard it here first, except for unless you're part of the preferred group from Ken Cook and David Baer. Okay, here's an excellent article by Bill Gillespie. He started by noticing these chicken trucks taking the chickens to the slaughterhouse. Okay, and he says, I pass these trucks often. If you live in Georgia, they're a common road companion. Okay, and I say out loud, if you knew where you were going, you'd be squawking your head off. You wouldn't be riding along like that. What's the business application? I sat in a Zoom call with a prospect yesterday. They wanted a post-mortem and suggestions on how to move on. It was excruciating. Okay, it was excruciating. It was identical to every other printer and exactly what the prospect expected to hear. It was all about the power of direct mail, their digital presses, the importance of personalization, and their press capacity. Then the client made it too easy, and they asked about innovation. They asked for success stories. And what did the printer say? Great quality, never late, always do what we say. Like every other printer doesn't at least say they do that. They may not do it. You know, I wanted to ask the printer, does anyone hire a printer that has poor quality, is frequently late, and breaks promises? No, you'd be out of business right away. It's like a gas station that doesn't have any gas. You know, you can say whatever you want. If the printer is invited to make a proposal, it will be evaluated on price. If this printer, they didn't give the prospect anything else to consider. They're in a cage of their own making, headed for the processing plant, right? My followers already know where I'm going. Please, please, please talk about the problems you solve. You know, I was talking with my old friend Bill Carey. We met long ago at Bob Stone's class on direct marketing. And I think we spent 2 hours on the phone. Good old Bill. Anyway, I tried to explain to him variables and modeling, and he was, you know, he asked good questions. He said, John, you're going over my head, and I do that, and I admit it, and I apologize for it, but I try to add a story to everything I share. I try to illustrate it. Like yesterday, we were talking about variables, but we were talking about variables in the context of Baseball Express. And so listen for the stories if you don't catch what my point is, right? Okay, so what are the problems you solve? And if you're unsure, call your best customer and ask them why they hired you. What makes you special? And they'll probably say, well, you always deliver on time. Your prices seem competitive. That's what the customer will say. So I'm sorry, Bill, but it's not going to be much help. They're never going to say, oh, yeah, remember that time when we forgot that the merge purge house was going to need a week, and we called you up and said, you know, instead of it being due 2 weeks from today, it's due tomorrow. And you stayed up all night and you ran 20 validations. I've done that so many times for people. They've never said that. They don't even say thank you. It's like, well, that's what we expect. You know, we expect you to burn the midnight oil if it's an emergency. Of course we will. You know, or we rented an airplane. We rented a little airplane and flew the mag tapes back in the days when you needed mag tapes. Flew it out to Iowa, right, to Meredith Printing. Yeah. And I won't even tell David Baer who we did it for. Okay. It isn't your presentation. It isn't your manner. It's your people and your integrity. Your culture are more important. Oh, it isn't your press room. It's your manner, your people, your integrity. Your culture is more important than your stuff. And that's probably true. Here's a competitive advantage tip. I suggest when you hear the client's answer, adjust your talk track. Talk about client problems, not technology. It will put you miles ahead of your competition. You'll be the bird that escapes the cage. I remembered that from when I first read this. Your fate will be better than the rest. I'm not sure that's true. I used to tell a story about the scientific chicken, and someone came up to me afterwards and said, do you know that in a slaughterhouse. The chickens ride along on this conveyor belt. And when they get within spitting distance of the knife that's coming down, that's going to go whoosh, swing through and off with their head, a little flag pops up at the end of the conveyor. The flag pops up. The chicken goes, that. And then whoosh, off it goes. What's up? These people don't know what they're missing, right? Gotta go, or ladyship wants chicken for dinner. I'm in Utah, and fried chicken isn't on every corner like at home. No Waffle House either, and that prompted me to write Bubba Watson's agent, Jens M. Beck. Jens and I had some email conversations. He even called me, and I suggested that Bubba Watson should invest in some Waffle Houses, put them around Chicago. There isn't a Waffle House for 250 miles from here. Anyway, let's get to the meat of this. Okay, creativity is marketers' last legal unfair advantage. Creativity. And what the heck is that anyway, right? And luckily, this is from Secret Marketers, so I don't have to be nice. No pulling punches today to keep people from being offended. Okay, he's going across Hyde Park. I find myself reflecting on what it means to be a marketing leader. And thank you, Mike Gunderson, for that wonderful little post recommending my show every day. Mike not only encourages me, but also oftentimes teaches me stuff and supports the WDMA financially. Thank you for that. I hope it's been rewarding for any who listen, but it's also nice to get a little financial encouragement because we do try to fight for you, and we do promote your posts. If you support us, we certainly keep an eye out for any content that you might want to promote. Okay, as we get older in our marketing career, we get boxed in by clever accountants, Teflon-coated MDs, pugnacious product managers, savvy suited salespeople. It's all too easy to lose one's grip, to suffer from a lack of imagination. Okay, a marketer of conformity or of conviction. How do you get conviction? Testing. Do you stand tall and challenge the received logic of slow growth and incremental improvement? No one ever shrunk to greatness, and no one ever tweaked to greatness either, right? My style consultant asked me about a decade ago, what's the one thing you learned after 40 years? I said, no one ever tweaks to greatness. It's always a big idea. And in the best of our industry don't settle for binary. They know the one great truth: when you get it right, everything's a multiplier. And I think that's right. But what's funny is that this guy says, you try to balance the long and short, the mass marketing, the key targeting segments, brand and performance, the chaos of contradictions, finding and unlocking growth. And then he says, creativity isn't about advertising. That's about the weakest creative lever ever. We need imagination to find the most powerful ways to engage customers and unlock their value. And then he says, one time the stars aligned and he saw this happen, right? And when that happened, he tries to recapture that. Okay, let's see. With the tension growing, the master marketing magician enters the stage to weave their creative magic. That's almost right off the cover of my book, and it's certainly in the introduction. That what we try to do is see beyond the data. And I'm writing the third edition, and I have 33 case studies. 33 cases. If you write me, I'll send you the case study. I'll send you that whole page. I mean, it's like, 10 pages of case studies, and you can critique them for me. Okay? Write me, John at WDMA.org, or call, and we'll do it together. And it's 33 explosive growths where we changed the valuation probably at least double, but in many cases way more than tenfold. Sometimes we grew more than tenfold, and sometimes in just a matter of months doubled companies and more than doubled valuations. And so how is that possible? How can you impact valuation that much? The answer is imagination, right? It's being able to see the hidden resources, and that's what the third edition is going to be about. Modeling helps, but it's not all there is to it. Have a great day. Give me a call, right? If you want to talk about your creative or talk about your mailing piece, you should join the WDMA, and I'll take the time to look it over. But if you just want to call, I'm open to that too.